Alright, lagi sekali untuk BBB Extra ataupun Borak-Borak Botak Extra. Kalau before this ada player lain yang aku dah interview, yang aku ada session dengan dia, maybe yang tu just introduction sebab sebelum ni banyak guna virtual. Tapi hari ni aku ada satu lagi guest yang aku rasa dia tengah main bola, aku baru lahir masalahnya tahun 1990. So 3 times Premier League winner, FA Cup winner 3 times, and then ada satu Piala Liga which is League Cup. We have here Sharpe. Welcome to Borak-Borak Botak Extra. This is not your first time in Malaysia, right?
No, a few times in Malaysia.
What's the most thing that you love in Malaysia?
Oh, lots of things. I think the people are amazing. The weather's good, apart from the rainy season. The golf courses are good. The food's good.
Okay.
So it's a pleasure to be here.
Okay. So, I think we're going to start this session with you have to pick one between your goals against Legia Warsaw in European Cup Winner Cup.
Yeah.
Or the other one is 1995 Champions League group stage against Barcelona, the back heel. So, which one you remember the most?
Well, I remember both goals.
Okay.
But I have to say the back heel against Barcelona is probably one of my favourites that I scored. I think because of the reasons as well. I mean, it's Barcelona at home. At the time, Manchester United had never been beaten in Europe at home as well.
Okay.
We went 2-1 down. Romario was just so good in the game.
Okay.
And then to score the back heel and to save the home record.
Okay.
And of course, the back heel against Barcelona was incredible. So that's one of my favourites.
It's a dream to score the back heel against Barcelona.
Yeah. It was actually a bad ball by Roy Keane.
Okay.
He put it slightly behind me. And then I was going to just hit it with my right foot and I saw the defender slide. So I had to sort of let the ball run through my feet and back heel it.
Okay, but what I've known that you're growing up as a Aston Villa fans.
Yeah.
But is there any regrets that until your end of your career, you didn't get any chance to wear the jersey?
I would have loved to have played for Aston Villa.
Okay.
I was a young lad. Not that I went to the games that often, but when I did, I stood on the Holt end watching the European Cup winners of 80-81. Tony Morley, Gary Shaw, Gordon Cowans. That was sort of my team. So yeah, I would love to have pulled on a Villa jersey at some point, but unfortunately that didn't happen.
Lee, there's one of my friends shared with me about your autobiography, My Idea of Fun. And in that you mentioned about how bully person are, talking about Sir Alex Ferguson. But honestly, do you think that is some of his secret of success being a manager?
Yeah, I think you're probably right. Yeah, I think it was a different era of football.
Okay.
I think management styles were far more aggressive. They call it old school, don't they? So I think it was a very aggressive dressing room that we had. It's obviously a huge club, and I think at the time, probably coming from the Ron Atkinson era into the Alex Ferguson era, I think the discipline in the club was probably not as strict or as strong. So I think he felt he had to do that when he came into the club, and it was just the era that we were in, and you had to accept it.
What aspect that you think he's the most bulliest manager? Maybe you can share with us.
In what do you mean? A particular story, or I mean, he was just really aggressive as a man, and it wasn't necessarily, we could come in and lose 3-0.
Okay.
Very rarely at the time, but if we did, and he wouldn't say anything. He said, "Get in the bath and I'll see you tomorrow." But then we could win 2-0, and he could come in and have a go at everyone because they've not done what he's told them to do. We went to Norwich. We were at the top of the league with Norwich, and we're playing at Carrow Road, and it's a huge game. Carrow Road's packed, and he says to Paul Ince at half-time, I think we're 2-0 up at half-time.
Okay.
And he says to Paul Ince, "I do not want you to cross the halfway line." He said, "You just sit in front of the back four and defend and look after our 2-0 lead." So we go out and we're playing well again, and then, I don't know, 10 minutes before the end of the game, Norwich have a corner, we have a breakaway, we run down the other end of the pitch. Paul Ince is in the 6-yard box, and he scores a goal to make it 3-0.
Okay.
And we come off, and the manager went absolutely crazy at him. I told you not to cross the halfway line. I told you to do this. I told you. And Ince gets up and he's like, well, I've just scored a goal. And he's like, I don't care if you've scored a goal. So he was just very aggressive and had his plans and wanted you to follow his rules.
Oh, I didn't expect that.
Yeah.
But in this current days, talking about your previous club, Manchester United, last season we always heard about those things regarding leaking stories from dressing rooms. But during your time playing, did you experience any sort of it?
No, but again, it's different times. I think when we played, I mean, there were no mobile phones, there were no social media, there wasn't as much coverage of football matches on the TV. The press and the media weren't as hungry for news reports and insider gossip. And I think we had a bit of an older team as well, so it was a bit more experienced and a bit more worldly wise. So they were careful of what they said to which person. There would always be certain little leaks if players wanted to get a transfer or if they weren't happy. There were certain little bits that got to papers, but very rarely. And I just think the current climate now with social media and there's so many ways for information to get out to the public. I think it's very difficult to keep all of it in-house, but I think that's an important part of the dressing room, that it stays close and tight-knit and secure.
Maybe in recent years, we heard about this one player, Daniel James, from Man United to Leeds United. But almost 30 years ago, there's one named Lee Sharpe, transferred from Man United to Leeds United. So that's including the Roses rivalries, the Pennines derby. But what's the real situation? Is there any intense situation regarding talking about the rivalry between Man United and Leeds, but you switch from this club to that club?
Yeah, it was a difficult move. I'd had a tough time with Alex Ferguson at the club, so I asked to move. He put a big price tag on my head, so Leeds were one of the only clubs that could afford to buy me. And it was a tough move. I had a few Leeds fans say, get back to Manchester, we don't want you.
Really?
Yeah. Like, I mean,
you can mention that name.
Once a scummer, always a scummer. They said, get back to Manchester. So I had a few people saying that. But I have to say, to be fair to the Leeds fans, 99.9% of the people were absolutely fantastic to me. I loved living in Leeds. It was a great city to live in. The Manchester United fans were sort of fine for not happy about me leaving, but they sort of accepted the situation, and everyone seemed to be good with me.
Erik ten Hag knows no one bigger than club. You said that. What makes you say that?
Well, I think he has a little bit of Sir Alex Ferguson in him. I think he's very disciplined. He's an aggressive manager. He knows exactly what he wants from the players. He knows they have to work hard. And I think we're seeing now with Cristiano Ronaldo, he's not just putting him in the team because he's a name. He's trying to play his philosophy of football. He's trying to play his team, his players. And yeah, I think he's a strong character, and he knows that the club is bigger than any one player. Because
the reason I asked about it, don't you think? What do you think about the previous manager before Ten Hag, David Moyes, Ralph Rangnick? They didn't have any kind of character to manage the club.
No, I don't think that. I think David Moyes was probably a little bit underqualified. The Manchester United job is a one-off job. Manchester United are an unbelievably huge club worldwide, and I think you have to have a certain amount of experience. And I'm not sure David Moyes. I think David Moyes was slightly underqualified, and then when he did get to the club, I think he was underhelped. I don't think he was helped enough with the transition into the club. Ralph Rangnick came in as a caretaker manager, which is an impossible situation in a football club when the team don't know whether you're going to be there in 6 months or not. The longevity for the players is not helpful. Mourinho, I'm not sure, was really a Manchester United manager. I don't think his style of play and his style of tactics are really what Manchester United are all about. Although he came in and won a trophy and got them to second in the league, I thought he did a fantastic job. Louis van Gaal, I didn't really know a lot about, but from his experience, you would have expected him to do a little bit better. But it didn't quite work out for him. And now we've had a period of 10 years of not a lot of success and a lot of downtime. So I think it's going to be, I think we've got to be patient, but I think the manager's on the right track and he's heading in the right direction.
And recently you also said that Man United should get at least Frankie de Jong or Declan Rice in this upcoming winter transfer. But as for now, in the current squad, Ten Hag used McTominay and Eriksen sometimes as a holding midfielder. How do you rate these two players so far this season?
Well, I think they've both been fantastic so far. I mean, obviously the first two games was very disappointing,
Okay,
and no one really played well.
Yeah.
But I think Eriksen's come in and been fantastic. I think everyone was expecting him to play little bits of games, and he's been probably the best player they've had so far this season. And McTominay's stepped up to the mark and played really well. He's kept Casemiro out the team. I think the manager showed loyalty because the team have had good results, and McTominay's played well. He's left Casemiro on the bench. I was very surprised that Casemiro didn't play against City because he is very much a holding midfielder and would have protected the back four a little bit, whereas McTominay has an element of attacking in his mind, so he wants to get forward and gets ahead of the ball a little bit, which is a little bit like Eriksen as well. So can leave the back four a little bit exposed. So I think we'll probably see a little bit more of Casemiro now after the weekend's result. So
you think Casemiro should start against City last times?
I think Casemiro should have possibly started against City, just because you know City are going to have a lot of the ball. You know you're going to be sat on the edge of your own penalty box for long periods of time, and I think Casemiro reads the game and reads the situation and doesn't get dragged ahead of the ball. He's quite happy to sit behind the ball, which is what we probably needed against City, and the extra man, the size of him, he probably could have helped maybe pick up Haaland at times.
Okay.
So yeah, I'm surprised he didn't play, but I think that's a loyalty towards McTominay because he's played well in the last few games.
Honestly, Lee, when they told me that we're going to have this chit-chat session, I really love to ask this question about this one player, the player that being the longest served at Man United right now, which is David De Gea. In modern football, people are always saying about we have to at least got one ball-playing goalkeeper. And compared to David De Gea, he's obviously normally act as shot stopper, more that character. But do you still have confidence in him to be the number one Man United goalkeeper, at least for this season or maybe next season? His contract going to expire this 2023.
Yeah, and I think they've got an option to extend it for a year, haven't they?
Yeah, correct.
So I think I still think he's one of the best shot stoppers in the world. As far as a playing goalkeeper, I don't think it really is that important to have a footballing goalkeeper if that's not the way your team play. I'd rather have someone that's a good shot stopper and keeps the ball out the back of the net rather than sprays passes everywhere, because a goalkeeper basically should just be passing it 10 yards to the full-back or to the centre-back and let the players play, and he should save goals. So I think he's definitely good enough for this season. I'd be very surprised if he gets an extension and he stays next season. I think he'll probably leave. I think the manager will probably bring his own goalkeeper in, and David De Gea will probably go back to Spain next year. And
how about the centre forward? Last time you said Ivan Toney, maybe we're not sure is either he's at United level, at United KPI or not. But Lewandowski, you also mentioned about him. He's just off to Barcelona last summer. So maybe you have any names, at least one name you can give me that should United get this upcoming transfer window?
Well, I don't really watch a lot of European football, so I can't really pluck names out from Europe. The only ones I can think about, I know Harry Kane has been linked with United for a few times. Maybe Harry Kane, if Tottenham struggle again this year, maybe we can get Harry Kane for a few seasons. I think it's a huge season for Anthony Martial and for Marcus Rashford. I still think Anthony Martial on his day is as good as any centre forward.
Okay.
But the problem is he doesn't have his day often enough. I think this is a big season that if he can prove himself to be consistent and play well throughout the season.
How about Rashford? He just won a Player of the Month.
Yeah, which surprised me a little bit when you consider that Kevin De Bruyne has never won Player of the Month. And,
Okay.
I mean, Marcus Rashford has had a good month. He scored a few goals, but I still think there's a lot more to come from him. I think with his ability, his pace, his power, I think there's a lot more to come from him. But as far as centre forwards, I mean, Ivan Toney's obviously started off brilliantly at Brentford. Tammy Abrahams is doing well at Roma. And these guys know how to hold the ball up. They can score goals. So as far as that, they're about the only two names I know at the moment. But the question is, do you still pick and play Ronaldo because he's still at the club, or do you leave him on the bench and lay the law down?
Just let him enjoy the time at bench. For time being, maybe.
But he's only going to enjoy it if he plays. He wants to play.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much, Lee.
No
It's
problem,
a very
thank
great time session with you. I really appreciate it. So thank you so much. Maybe we can have another interview session in the time soon. Maybe.
Definitely.
All right. Thank you so
Lovely.
much. So itu je untuk hari ni BBB Extra. Aku rasa banyak benda aku dah dapat tanya dan dapat borak dengan Lee Sharpe. Satu penghargaan besar untuk aku, dan maybe lepas ni ada player lain juga. So make sure korang stay tune dengan Borak-Borak Botak Extra ataupun BB Extra. Assalamualaikum, bye-bye.